From the station working for you, this is WRTV News at 7, streaming now.
Quiet weather takes us into the start of the weekend, but things quickly turn active with a mix of rain and snow. Good evening, I'm Mark Mullins here with Kevin Gregory with a look at your forecast for the weekend. Hey, Kevin.
And as you mentioned, a quiet end to the work week and a quiet beginning to your Saturday. It's about this time tomorrow evening that I think we'll be a couple hours into accumulating snow for tomorrow night. 3 to 7 inch potential. I could broaden that and say almost 0 to 7 inches because there will be spots well south of Indianapolis that don't see much at all. Okay, the chance for precipitation may mix with some rain at the beginning and then switch to snow. Really skyrockets once we get to about 5 o'clock in the evening, maybe slightly earlier south and west of Indy. Take it in 2-hour shifts or 4 hours. We jump to 7 p.m. All of this is widespread moderate snowfall, limiting visibility, accumulating. Notice to the south of Terre Haute and Bloomington, you've got rain. That will cut down obviously on snowfall, and then eventually that rain snow line will lift well to the north into the morning hours on Sunday. These are just in latest updated forecast model snowfall potential amounts. Once you go north and east of Indy, that's where you get to 4 to 7 inches with isolated higher amounts possible. Mark?
Kevin, thank you. Now to our continuing coverage of the COVID-19 pandemic and its impact on Indiana. The State Department of Health says another 2,647 Hoosiers have been diagnosed with COVID-19. 46 more Hoosiers have died. The total number of deaths is now at 9,549. Since March, more than 622,000 Hoosiers have tested positive for COVID-19, and more than 6.9 million tests have been administered in Indiana. Local libraries across the state are taking on a new task and working to help people schedule their COVID-19 vaccine appointments. You can now call or visit more than 200 different libraries across the state if you need help registering for your shot. Leaders at the Johnson County Public Library have partnered with the health department for this effort. They have access to real-time appointment information at Johnson Memorial Health. They can schedule you there or use the state's website to get you in at another location. So far, the Johnson County Public Library has helped more than 150 people make appointments in just the last week. They expect to help even more Hoosiers as the vaccine eligibility requirement expands to 65 and older.
A lot of these people don't have internet access. They don't have a device that they're able to access the internet on, or they're just not sure how to navigate the site. So that's kind of where we step in and we can help them over the phone or in person, whatever they'd like.
Statewide libraries have scheduled appointments for more than 1,300 Hoosiers and reached out to more than 66,000 with information about the vaccine.
As an African American male, I think it's imperative that we step up.
Tonight, a Hoosier on the front lines of the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic is sharing his experience about getting vaccinated, hopefully to inspire those who look like him to do the same. Data on the state's vaccination dashboard shows that so far African Americans have a disproportionately lower vaccination rate than other groups. WRTV's Cornelius Hawker spoke with a man who hopes to change assumptions about the vaccine.
Christopher Randolph's message is crystal clear.
African Americans, go take the shot.
He understands some African Americans don't trust the healthcare system because of things that have happened in the past, like the Tuskegee syphilis experiment. But Christopher thinks the Black community needs to put the pandemic into perspective.
I think it's important that we ascertain that this is a different time and it's a different situation. Conspiracies are always going to be there. So that's my thing. I'm a conspiracy buster.
Numbers from the state show African Americans make up just under 4% of all the vaccinations that have been given out in Indiana, while making up 10% of the state's population. That's something Christopher hopes he can help change by telling his story. He's received both shots because of his job as a chaplain at a local hospital. Being in that job really showed him why getting vaccinated was so important.
I'm a chaplain, so I'm right there at the critical times. I've never seen anything like this in my life. I've been in 3 combat wars. I have not seen as many deaths.
Christopher has also seen the impact of COVID in his personal life. His wife, Carmen, dealt with COVID-19 back in the spring, and she's still dealing with some of the side effects.
I get sad by just seeing how it affected her when she had it. And so my wife was like just laying around for weeks. And that was hard, in itself, to see it.
From his personal experiences through his job and with his wife, Christopher hopes he can help convince his community to get vaccinated, ask questions if they have any, and make sure they realize what could happen if they don't take the steps to protect themselves.
See, this is the thing. It's deadly. It's deadly.
Working for you, Cornelius Hawker, WRTV.
Early in the pandemic, officials in Marion County worked to place COVID testing sites in predominantly African-American neighborhoods. We reached out to see if the department is doing the same for vaccine access. They said in part that right now, their efforts are focused on education and making sure there's understanding about what the vaccine is and the benefit it provides. Each day the pandemic continues, small business owners say they fear the reality of having to close their doors. The Rebound Indiana is sharing ways those owners are getting help from their community. Jordan Fox and her husband own Books and Brews in Noblesville. She says that they are trying to hold on through the winter, but she's finding many customers don't feel comfortable coming inside. As they continue to see a decline in traffic, the city of Noblesville is helping out in a big way. Fox is one of 45 businesses that just received money from the second round of the city's Small Business Resilience Grant Fund.
Well, it's definitely going to help pay our February 1st rent to the mall. It's going to give us an opportunity to get 1 month closer to that patio weather, keep our lights on. We are so grateful to the Noblesville Chamber of Commerce and the board for granting us this gift. It's really going to help get us to another warm month.
The grant money is meant to be used for immediate needs like rent, payroll, or additional PPE. Church leaders and health advocates from across Indianapolis have been working to come up with ways to better serve the health needs of minority communities. Throughout the pandemic, church leaders recognized they needed to step in to help their congregations with a number of issues. But they say this kind of help was needed long before the pandemic. Today, leaders highlighted disparities in health care, especially among minorities. One pastor shared a personal story about his niece delivering her baby at the hospital.
After the birth, she was bleeding, and they had to call several times for the nurse or somebody to come to help her stop bleeding, and there was no response. And so we've heard of infant mortality and maternal mortality, and this could have been tragic had her mother not been there to really go out and bring somebody in to the patient room to assist.
State Representative Robin Shackelford also joined in on the conversation to share what's being introduced at the State House in light of the death of Dr. Susan Moore, who died of complications from COVID-19 and previously claimed that she was mistreated and racially discriminated against during her time as a patient at the hospital. A bill has been introduced. House Bill 1333 proposes the State Department of Health and the Minority Health Department come up with a curriculum that healthcare providers will have to complete at least 2 hours of cultural training a year. We will keep you updated on how that plays out at the State House. New legislation has been filed to save a state program meant to help struggling veterans. Hyperbaric oxygen therapy can help veterans with PTSD and traumatic brain injuries. WRTV Investigates has learned only $272,000 of the $1 million allocated for the program has been spent 3 years later. One lawmaker tells WRTV that program has helped fully treat only one veteran. Representative Denny Zent filed House Bill 1104, which would extend the program through June of 2025 and remove some of the red tape associated with implementing the program.
We need to extend this so it doesn't revert to the general fund, because that, to me, would be the worst outcome of everything. If the money went back to the general fund, then I'd be up on the rooftop screaming.
At this point, the program's providers are Purdue University and Clark Memorial Hospital in Jeffersonville, but the state is working on finding additional locations. We checked with Purdue, and they told us they spent a chunk of money to, quote, facilitate development and testing of the advanced MRI sequences to be used in the study, analysis of images and study data, payment for MRI scans of study participants, and reimbursement to participants for travel expenses, end quote. He's out of politics for now, but what about the future? And how will his ties to his former boss help or hurt him? Next, our political insiders ponder Pence's fate. Now that his term as vice president is over, people who watch politics are wondering about Mike Pence. There are reports that he and his wife Karen don't yet have a permanent place to call home as of now. Today, our political insiders take a look at what comes next for the former Indiana governor.
As more time passes, the Trump-Pence administration is going to age really poorly. And that's even including in states like Indiana. And it's because once we're out of this partisan grip that is slowly starting to, chip away, we're finally starting to, I actually genuinely believe in the calls for unity that Republicans and Democrats are wanting to accomplish. A lot of Hoosiers are going to realize that the last 4 years were actually pretty toxic, not actually geared towards our American values, which is to protect democracy and to abide by the Constitution. And so I think when it comes to Pence, unfortunately, I just think it means that his future is rather stunted, and it's going to be a rather small audience. But that audience is his core base. And so he will be successful to a degree, but when it comes to national politics and running for president, I do not see how he becomes successful.
I wrote in my cheat sheet gossip column that you can find at anypolitics.org, by the way, just FYI, that the vice president is probably has got a book deal in the works to write a book about his time in the Trump administration, as well as governor of Indiana. But also I'm hearing that he may go back into the radio business as a talk radio show host, taking over for Rush Limbaugh, which would make sense because Mike does have used to work at WIBC, Ray, just like, I do and you used to. He's got the talk radio background. Rush Limbaugh has an audience that fits, sort of that Donald Trump sphere of influence. And it gives him a couple years to sort of rebuild and rebrand himself again and possibly run for president. I mean, you also got to remember, Drew, that Joe Biden ran for president twice. Didn't get it. Then the third time was a charm. So you can't necessarily rule out Mike Pence right away.
Let's talk about the timing of the storm system. I'll give you a larger view here. This is 1 o'clock, and then watch it sweep in tomorrow evening through tomorrow night, Sunday, and then finally begin to pull away Monday. We'll break down the finer details next.
The Rebound Indiana is our commitment to guiding you to resources, helping you bounce back from the pandemic. Today, our Kelsey Anderson is talking with experts to help you out of a familiar financial rut for some Hoosiers, and that is having too much money on those credit cards.
Well, financial freedom is possible even in these trying times. So if you have a pile of credit card debt, we have some easy tips for you that you can take right now to cut that down and get back on track. Financial professional Logan Benham of Benham Advisory Group says the best way to get out of debt is to write out your expenses and see where you can cut back in your day-to-day life to put more money towards paying off your credit cards. If you have multiple cards, he suggests paying off your smallest credit card balance first to start yourself off on the right foot.
Start by paying off the smallest one first. That way you might be able to eliminate carrying a balance over from month to month, and that might motivate you to tackle some of those larger debts.
He believes once you've completed paying off one credit card, you'll be motivated to put more towards your balance and be debt-free a lot sooner. But remember, saving and getting out of debt is a marathon and not a sprint, and it is not going to happen overnight. For more financial advice from Logan Benham, head over to this story on the WRTV News app. Working for you, Kelsey Anderson, WRTV.
Kelsey, thank you. Lowe's plans to hire more than 50,000 new employees ahead of the spring rush and award $80 million in bonuses to current associates. This will be the 7th bonus Lowe's has given hourly employees during the pandemic, bringing the company's total COVID-19 financial commitment to employees to nearly $1.3 billion. Hourly associates at stores, distribution centers, and call centers will receive the bonus on February 5th. Full-time hourly associates will get $300 and part-time and seasonal associates will get $150. The company is also looking to hire full-time, part-time, and seasonal workers. The Burger Bonanza continues on the city's west side. Today we revisited California Burger near 16th and Tibbs. And just like earlier this week, the line at the drive-thru wrapped around the building and flowed onto the nearby street. This has been an amazing business success story, especially since they just opened on January 1st in the height of the pandemic. The owner says the only advertising they've done has been on an Instagram page. And as you can see, hungry Hoosiers are certainly getting that message.
I'm going to go get in line tonight for tomorrow.
Bring me back one.
I think they open at 10 a.m. Okay, 31, that's temperature right now in Muncie. These temperatures below the freezing mark in all of central Indiana. Quiet night tonight. We will climb above freezing tomorrow before the precip starts. First in western Indiana closer to 3, and then sweeping into central Indiana as some moderate to heavy snowfall at times. 3 to 7 inches. I'll break down that wide-ranging forecast in just 1 second. The bulk of that accumulation will take place before, say, 1 o'clock Sunday morning. So tomorrow night into the early overnight, and roads become slick. Even though temperatures above freezing at the beginning will help with some of the melting, the intensity of the snow at times may just overwhelm that. 4 to 7 inch snowfall potential if you're from Lafayette, say Tipton to Anderson, Muncie, and Richmond North. That's the greatest chance because you'll have snow for a longer period of time. The rain snow line will eventually lift north of Indy. That will cut down on snowfall amounts because we'll have a period of rain. You're likely to have a lot more rain in the southern portion of the state. Many spots, not much snow at all to maybe 2 inches on the north side of that. 3 o'clock to 5. There's the expansion of the deep blue. That's the snow. As we go through the evening hours, notice it continues just to hang in the area with accumulating snow potential. Then as we go from 11 o'clock overnight, that pushes north. Now, assuming all of this works as planned, that will transition to rain central south, keep the snow ongoing the northern fringe of our viewing area. You can follow along with this. Storm Shield is free for your smartphone, and you can track the radar anytime you want. As we go to Sunday, we'll flip the script. We'll have rain early, changing to snow, some light accumulating snow on the backside of the storm system. We'll calm things down Monday through Wednesday. We'll also need time to dry out from the wet mess because more rain returns as we get to Thursday. 47 degrees, cold enough when that system departs for some snow on Friday. And it's Friday right now. Hopefully you've had a good week. We'll be right back after this.
Subway finds itself defending its tuna. 2 California women filed a lawsuit claiming the sandwich chain's tuna is not actual tuna. They say independent tests found that the tuna is actually a mixture of various concoctions. The women's lawsuit accuses Subway of tricking them into buying food items that lack the ingredients they thought they were buying. Subway denies the allegations. Your smartphone could soon let you know if you've had too much to drink. Researchers at the University of Pittsburgh attached a smartphone to the lower back of participants with an elastic band. Participants then performed several walking tests similar to field sobriety tests. The smartphone recorded their acceleration and other movements. Researchers say 90% of the time, the smartphone correctly pointed out those who were too drunk to drive. Researchers say the study is a good first step in developing more effective ways to alert people or their loved ones when someone has had too much. Before we go, a Los Angeles meteorologist got a visit from an unexpected guest during her live broadcast from home, and it made for an adorable news blooper.
So we're waiting for that storm to arrive here in Southern California. It looks like there's a baby down below. All right, Santa Clarita 57, 66 degrees in Chino, Santa Monica 61, 55 in Ventura, and Irvine 64 degrees and 62 in Pasadena. We'll talk about this storm. He walks now, guys, so I've lost all control.
So he's going to be on TV a lot more. Leslie Lopez is the weathercaster at ABC 7 in LA, and that's her surprise guest star, her 10-month-old son, Nolan. Lopez says she's gotten an outpouring of support from viewers and even a few celebrities. Even news legend Dan Rather retweeted the video with the comments, quote, "Sometimes working from home means unexpected cameos."
He was quiet too, the little guy, right?
Yeah.
Just kind of cruised in.
You just never know. We might see him doing the weather years from now.
Or later tonight.
All right.
All right, temperatures tomorrow 33 at noon. The snow begins as we get to the evening hours tomorrow, Mark.
You'll see us later tonight. We'll see you back here tonight at 11. Have a good evening.